The Total Sports Network presents the finals of the ABC Bud Light Masters. Began earlier this week with the dream of becoming the 43rd annual ABC Masters champion. And now we're down to the final 5. Hello again, everybody. I'm Dave Armstrong, along with Hall of Famer Earl Anthony and two-time ABC Masters champion Earl Anthony. And Earl, we have a shot of you in your first ABC Masters championship. That came in 1977, and now here you are today. What was it like for you to win this tournament?
Well, first of all, I haven't changed a bit. You notice that, Dave?
That's right.
This is a very tough tournament to win. It's an endurance contest, and I think it takes a considerable amount of mental toughness. And for me, it was kind of a crowning blow for me to win this particular event because it's a different format for the bowlers. They're not used to bowling this many games of continuous match play all week long. And the guy that is really tough in the clutch is going to win this event.
Well, we'll see who is the toughest here today. And let's take a look at the field. In the 5th spot right now is Ernie Schlegel, one of your contemporaries.
Ernie's about my age bracket, Dave, and he is one of the toughest players out here. As far as mental toughness, Ernie's had a lot of experience in match play. He's been on the tour for I don't know how many years. He will be very difficult to beat.
In the 4th spot, the smooth lefty, Parker Bohn.
Parker Bohn is probably the best lefty on the tour today. Fundamentally sound. His game is great. I think he might be too nice a guy to win a tough endurance contest like this.
Well, we'll see how nice he is today. Maybe he'll be mean on his competitors.
Maybe he will.
Joe Firpo, a guy who has suffered through some bad luck on the tour.
He's had a lot of bad luck. Joe's coming off the worst year he's had as a professional bowler. This would make his year. It might make his career if he could win today.
Oh, talking about making a guy's year, how about Patrick Allen, our lone amateur?
And the youngest player in the field and the least experienced. But sometimes those guys jump up and surprise you. The least experienced player sometimes comes out, he gets all pumped up and charged up and shoots the big game.
And the #1 qualifier, Norm Duke, a local guy from Edmond, Oklahoma.
Norm is, next to Ernie Schlegel, probably the toughest match play bowler in the field. And if I were to pick a winner, obviously it has to be Norm. He's led the tournament almost from start to finish. He's the high average player in the field. He set some records this week. As far as bowling for your own money, which determines how good match player bowler you are, Norm's one of the best.
For all of these bowlers, winning the ABC Masters would be their crowning achievement. Mentally, then, what do they have to do here today?
Again, it's an endurance contest. These bowlers are all very tired. They fought all week long from 9 o'clock in the morning till midnight some days bowling. Match play all through the week. It takes an extreme amount of mental toughness to come out here today bowling on national television and win a major event.
So we're ready for that first match between Parker Bohn and Ernie Schlegel. And it'll be Ernie Schlegel in the purple shirt. Getting started, Ernie Schlegel, a 26-year member of the PBA with 5 tournament titles to his credit. And leaves the 10 pin.
Ernie goes more direct, Dave, than any of the other players in the field. We have 2 left-handers in the field today. Both of them hook the ball extremely well, quite across a lot of boards. The other 2 right-handers are both hook players. Norm Duke will be playing right on the edge of the lane. He's the leader in the tournament. Ernie Schlegel goes very straight. He's an excellent spare shooter and generally stays out of trouble. You have to beat Ernie. He very seldom beats himself.
And an opening spare for Ernie Schlegel. Always good to get that first frame out of the way, isn't it?
It is, and just like the PBA Tour, we have a top 5 here where the guy that finished higher in the standings has his choice of starting lanes. Parker Bohn, being in 4th position, chose to have Ernie Schlegel start the match, so Parker, in other words, will finish the match first, the 9th and 10th frame. He'll be sitting on the bench hoping to put pressure on Ernie Schlegel in the 10th frame.
And a beautiful ball from Parker Bohn. He opens with a strike, and a great crowd here at the Convention Center in Tulsa. Parker Bohn, a 9-year member of the PBA Tour and 7 titles to his credit. He's off to a fast start in '93, winning 95,000 plus already.
And it seems like our 4 players that are professionals in the field today are all kind of hard luck players. They all have a great deal of talent. They never seem to be able to live up to what their expectations might be. This is one of the prime example. A very talented left-hander. He should have won twice as many tournaments as he's won, in my opinion.
And a double for Parker Bohn III. So Bohn takes a 10-pin advantage now on Ernie Schlegel up in the second.
Scores have been good all week here, Dave. We've had some extremely high scores. Norm Duke shot 821 for 3 games in one of his matches to get into the top 5. And Ernie Schlegel has had trouble keeping up with the high scores, but he's fought and grinded and just been out there just grinding constantly, and that's how he got here.
Schlegel kicks out the 10 that time.
Now we'll take a look at Ernie as he goes to the foul line. Very deliberate player, good balance at the foul line, and kind of a classic style. Good approach, watch the arm swing, comes right up to shoulder level. Good balance at the foul line, goes through the shot very well, good high follow through. Ernie doesn't get a lot of heavy roll on the ball, but he's extremely accurate, and he knows how to play angles, so he takes advantage of the roll he does have to get the most out of it. So he'll surprise you with some big numbers when you least expect it.
Trying to double up in the third. Lost that one, though, and went through the head pit.
Exactly what happened. You're right, Dave. It fell off his hand. You see Ernie looking at his hand there, and he's had problems. I've talked to Ernie throughout the tournament, and he's had problems with his thumb all week long. We'll take a look at that. Watch how early you hear it hit the floor. They hit the approach before it even gets to the foul line. Right here, he loses it off his thumb. You can see it come off early, and when that happens, the ball always will go left. But he's had problems with his hand all week. It's a little tender, and he's having trouble with the thumb hole, keeping the ball from falling off his hand.
The relatively easy 3-6, and the mark for Ernie Schlegel in the third. Now here's Parker Bohn working on a double.
And a chance really early in the match here for Parker to put a lot of pressure on Ernie Schlegel. If he were to strike these next 2 frames, Ernie will have trouble catching up.
Could not get the 6-pin to go down.
And actually a very good break here for Parker Bohn. And Parker normally gets the ball well out in the lane with a lot of heavy roll on it. That one, he had the same problem happen to him that happened to Ernie Schlegel. It fell off his thumb, the ball hit the lane early, and he's lucky he didn't leave the 8-pin along with the 6. A very difficult spare then. This very easy cross lane, a lot of ball speed.
And no problem. Parker is a 3-time winner of the PBA Sportsmanship Award, and we talked to him about how nice he is. And one of the questions we asked was, is he too nice to win here today?
Never too nice to win here today. I'm going to go out here and bowl hopefully 4 of the best games I can possibly bowl, and I want to be 1 pin better than each one of my opponents. As far as being nice, we'll put that one in the bag right now.
Coming out trying to be mean, and up 9 right now in the 4th. Comes back with another strike. 3 out of 4 strikes now for Parker Bohn III. Keeping the pressure on this man, Ernie Schlegel. And I guess a lot of people will remember Schlegel, if you're a longtime bowling fan, for that bicentennial year when he always came out in the Stars and Stripes colors.
Ernie is one of the more colorful players on the tour. He likes to promote Ernie Schlegel, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you don't blow your own horn, nobody's going to do it for you, and Ernie's very good at that. Now, while we're talking about Ernie, let's say hello to his wife, Kathy. Today's her birthday. And her and my wife are best friends, so happy birthday, Kathy.
And speaking of family, his daughter on hand, Darlene Schlegel.
And she's nervous. You can see that. Darlene's been to a number of these and watched Ernie in competition, and she suffers right along with that. I think it's harder to watch than it is to compete, Dave.
Ernie was saying that with his wife, Kathy, celebrating her birthday, she wanted a new dining room set, so he thinks he's earned enough to buy her one, regardless of what happens here today.
Ooh.
Look out there. He got it. Did not like the way it came out, though.
Well, Ernie has a problem with a nerve in his back and down through his hip and his leg. You see him kind of fighting it there, and every once in a while it'll grab him. And you watch him grimace here. The look on his face at the point of release, right there, it grabs him and it hurts, and it hurts a lot. This is an ongoing thing that he's been battling for a number of years, and if he bowls a lot of games, which you have to in this particular event to get to this stage, it's hard on Ernie. Let's face it, Ernie's 50 years old. This is tough competition.
You like that one one better, and the result is fine. A strike in the 5th for Schlegel.
If Ernie gets it going, he'll get pumped up. If he can carry a couple of light hits like that, and here's a good look at it. Now watch the head pin go to the wall, and you'll see the last pins to fall are the 5 and the 6. Ernie likes that kind of hit, and he'll start yelling and screaming and dancing even though it hurts. And he'll start yelling fruit salad.
Fruit salad.
Fruit salad. That's a light hit. You'll hear it from Ernie if he gets it going. This is really, I'm always impressed watching this young man bowl. He's one of the classiest players on the tour. His style is just about as good as you can get it right here. Great arm swing. $1 million arm swing.
Boy, and $1 million strike. And that gives Bohn a 20-pin lead now through 5. Actually into the 6th frame now.
Ernie hasn't shot the big numbers. Talking about Schlegel, he's just been in a grinder. He's been in there. He keeps pressure on his opponent all week long, as opposed to Parker Bohn, who shot the big numbers. So if he gets out in front very far, Ernie's going to be hard-pressed, Dave, to catch up.
Another strike for Bohn. Wow. That's 3 in a row for Bohn and a 30-pin lead. And we'll return to the Tulsa Convention Center in just a moment with more of the finals of the 1993 ABC Bud Light Masters.
Come on, let's get a cold one.
Our total attendance for today's game.
Oh, would you look at this beer line? I'm going to go back. What? Foul ball? No, I'm not. Foul ball!
Foul ball? Out of the way!
I got it!
If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down,
Make it 2 Bud Lights, please.
make it a Bud Light.
Hey, you got another ball?
Coast, the eye-opener.
We're here at McDonald's to tell you about
Breakfast economics.
Breakfast economics?
It's a great breakfast at a great price.
It's a McDonald's thing. It saves you money. Pretty simple, isn't it?
Piece of cake.
What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
It's good, isn't it? It's great.
The 1993 ABC Bud Light Masters is brought to you by Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. By Midas, where you can get same-day brake service because your brakes can't wait. And by Coast Deodorant Soap. That crisp, invigorating scent makes Coast the eye-opener. So we move now into the 6th frame for Ernie Schlegel, down 30 pins. Schlegel working on a strike. Would love to double up here.
It's getting late in the match. Ernie has to get something going. As you mentioned, he's on a strike. He actually needs to string out at least 4 or 5 to have a chance in this match at this point. Gotta hurry.
Too much speed. Too much speed.
You heard him say too much speed.
Well, I think more than speed, Ernie's getting around the side of the ball, and when he gets around the side of the ball, it spins on him and it doesn't grip the lane. Ernie, in order to bowl well, has to roll the ball. He has to stay behind it, get that forward roll, and that's when he gets his best ball reaction. Now, if he gets to the foul line a little fast, he gets around the side of it, and it slides out like that one.
Trying to convert on the 2-4-5, done perfectly. Do you recognize the guy in the hat? Michael J. Fox. He's alongside Johnny Petraglia, former lefty. Still a lefty, but a former great lefty bowler. And
Hall of Famer.
Michael J. Fox will be in the upcoming movie Greed. It will come out sometime next year. He'll play a pro bowler.
Well, he's got a good instructor. Johnny Petraglia can teach him as well as anyone can, that's for sure. He looks pretty much into this, doesn't he?
Studying the form, trying to get it all down. He was here late last night as well. And Schlegel continues to struggle.
And the rotation, you can always tell when Ernie's in trouble by the rotation of his ball. And you can see that the ball is rotating right to left instead of end over end. He's in trouble. And that's what he's getting now. He's getting around the side of the ball, and he rotates his hand around the side. it doesn't react. It skids 60 feet. We'll take another look at Ernie, the rotation of Ernie's ball. Here's a look at it. Now watch the ball. You can see by the label on the ball, you can see his hand on the side. Now watch the rotation as it goes down the lane. You can see it's going from right to left and never grips the lane. It slides all the way down the lane in the oil. Right on the end, when it's too late, it finally rotates from toward the pins, but it's just too late then.
And now here's Parker Bohn working on 3 in a row, trying to make it 4 in a row here. Good chance to close out this match early. Wow, he is on target.
And he's not letting up. He's being very aggressive, and he's not getting overly excited. He knows he has to bowl 4 games to win the championship. This is just one of those 4, he hopes.
Well, Bohn knows what it's like on the other side. Bohn yesterday in one of the qualifying matches watched Joe Firpo roll a 299 at him.
He also was unfortunate enough to be bowling Norm Duke when he bowled 821 against him. So 821 for 3 games. It's pretty heavy duty. You don't get beat very often with that kind of a score.
And the first really bad ball from Parker Bohn.
He's made 2 mistakes, both the same. This one actually hooked more than the other one. Remember when we talked about earlier in the match when in the 3rd frame when it came off his hand, early hit the floor, hooked early. That's exactly what happened there. And Parker will switch balls, will cross lane, a lot of ball speed. This young man can generate tremendous ball speed at his spares.
No problem on the 4-7. No open frames at all for either bowler. And Parker Bohn, the 3rd, leads by 40 as we head to the 8th frame for Schlegel.
Well, Ernie's only chance now is to strike out the rest of the match, and that would give him a possibility of 227. Parker Bohn going at a 237 pace, so Ernie would not only have to strike out, he would have to hope that Parker Bohn would make a major error, get an open, get back in the match.
There's 1. 1 down and 4 to go for Schlegel. And his daughter smiling for the first time.
She's doing her best to give Dad some support.
Does it make it tougher on him watching Parker Bohn off to such a fast start?
It does. In this particular format, this is the PBA match game format for television, and in this format, 1 game, anybody can beat anybody, and it doesn't really matter. You have to be aggressive. You have to come out of the gate pumped up and ready to go, and Ernie normally is. He's usually very aggressive. When he isn't aggressive, it's because he's not sure of himself. And Ernie, you can see the look in his face. There's not a lot of confidence there. He's not sure how the ball's going to react, and so he's not very confident. He has to stay behind it and roll it. Oh, hung up in that one. Got it.
And make him work for it. Make him work for it.
You can hear, we've got him mic'd, so you can hear him say, make it work for you.
He's talking about Parker Bohn. He's saying, make him work for it. He's trying to strike this game out, so Parker has to pay attention. If Parker were to make 1 mistake, he could put Ernie back in the match.
He cuts the lead down to 30. Coming up in the 9th, working on a spare from the 8th. Boy, that sets him up.
Hard to do it much better than that.
Ernie made him work for it, and Parker is right there.
Parker only needs a mark in the 10th to close out this match, and obviously he would like to throw the strike here and end it. You must be aggressive. You can't back down now. You've got to go out there and be aggressive. This is the ball that wins the match. A little more ball speed.
And another strike. That will do it for Parker Bohn. A little more ball speed to try to avoid going through the
big
headpin.
mistake. Yeah, I'm sure Parker was thinking, don't let up on it. And, you know, the shot previously on that lane when it went high and the headpin and crossed over, he didn't want that to happen again, get the big split, and put Ernie back in the match. He knows that if he hits light in the pocket, and he's capable of getting that ball almost anywhere he wants it on the lane, he knows by keeping it light, he's got a good chance to win the match.
And now just trying to stay smooth as he prepares for his next match, which would come against Joe Firpo, the man that rolled a 299 against him just last night. And a 257 possible now for Parker Bohn with another strike here. Maybe in the 250s somewhere. A pretty good start.
Not bad, and that gives you a lot of confidence. Come out of the gate with a big game like that. Joe Firpo's off to the side warming up, watching this, and knowing that he's going to have to shoot a big score to beat this young man.
Wow. 257 for Parker Bohn III. Awfully tough for Ernie Schlegel.
Well, it's been a good week for Ernie. He survived all the aches and pains, and believe me, Ernie's suffering out there right now physically. But he's bowled wonderfully well all week long. He's made some crucial shots when he had to under pressure to win some matches. And he's demonstrated why he's a winner on the PBA Tour, if not today.
So for the second time in the ABC Masters, Ernie Schlegel will finish 5th in his career.
Well, Ernie was talking about, we've got that car for the 300 game. And we saw it in the lobby here, an $89,000 Excalibur. And Ernie, for a 300 game, and Ernie said, I'm going to bowl that. And he said, Earl, you can drive me home and I'll sit in the back seat.
You guys live near each other.
About 45 minutes away.
Well, Schlegel's hot now, and it doesn't matter.
Well, he's a little more relaxed now, and he's not trying to be perfect. Ernie's very talented, there's no question, but sometimes he's just not aggressive enough when he has to be. And he tends to try to fit the ball.
But still, the $11,000 he'll win here today should be plenty for any kind of dining room set for his wife, Kathy.
That's right. And I'm sure my wife and Kathy will be out shopping with that $11,000.
So Parker Bohn III wins the first match, 257 to 226. Bohn will next take on Joe Firpo.
We're going to hand you the ultimate weapon. Be careful how you use it. Always wear the right protection. And this weapon will be your friend. Lethal Weapon 3. We're back! We're back! With Mel, Danny, and Joe.
I'm Chaos, and he's Mayhem. We're a double act.
Do you think I could get a gun this time? No! Lethal Weapon 3.
Insurance. It's some things that have changed for the better, and some things that haven't changed at all. It's getting something back again you thought you might be losing. It's everyone for one another instead of everyone for himself. It's finding something in yourself you never knew you had. Bowling at BPAA centers. It's a whole lot more than a game.
Clearview Lanes in Mount Joy.
So Parker Bohn III just too tough for Ernie Schlegel in our first match, winning 257 to 226. Parker Bohn closing it out with 4 strikes in a row, and the first one in the 10th, a key moment. Let's take a look at some of the other finishers here today in our ABC Masters. That's the 43rd annual, and the top 63 plus last year's defending champion qualified for the match play.
And as you mentioned, Dave, this is a big field, 480 bowlers, the largest field of the year for the professionals to compete in, and this is also open to all amateurs. And here's a previous champion, Rick Steelsmith. Gary Dickinson, one of the better older bowlers, about ready to go on the senior tour.
$235,000 overall at stake here in the Bud Light Masters.
Jimmy Johnson, son of Hall of Famer Don Johnson. And there's my old nemesis and good friend, Frank Allenberg, and he's in the truck doing the stats with us today and the graphics. He beat me here in 1978, not here, but at the Masters, and I'll never forgive him for that. Doug Kent, who is the defending champion, or actually 2 years ago, I think he won it.
Interesting to see the money total here today, Earl, because in 1977, the year you first won the Masters, the top 8 finishers earned a total of $22,935.
Yeah, but it was worth more then, Dave. Things didn't cost as much 16 years ago.
All right, we're ready for match number 2 now. Parker Bohn III, who won over Ernie Schlegel in match number 1, now moves on to face Joe Firpo. And we'll be back with that match here from the Tulsa Convention Center in a moment.
We're going to have to bail.
What about the Bud Light?
No time. There's only one left.
You take it. I'll never forget you.
If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
Not so fast.
We're here at McDonald's to tell you about
Breakfast economics.
Breakfast economics?
It's a great breakfast at a great price.
It's a McDonald's thing. It saves you money. Pretty simple, isn't it?
Piece of cake.
What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
It's good, isn't it? It's great.
Hey, you sure love a clean car, but you hate to clean the tires, right? Here, try this. Bleach White Foaming Tire Care. It works like magic. Look, just apply the foam. No rubbing, no scrubbing. Dirt and grime disappear as Bleach White Foam cleans and shines. Bleach White Foaming Tire Care makes your tires look like new. So don't accept a substitute. Get Foaming Tire Care from Bleach White, the world's largest selling tire cleaner.
People get so emotional. It's the biggest transaction of their life. They look to you for that help, and then you just have to guide them through that process.
People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Century 21, rated best at selling homes.
It has been a memorable month of Sunday Night Baseball.
Has scored, and they've got him at home. The game is over. Here comes the throw. Going to be close. He's out. And here comes Weiss for the plate. And the game is over.
And this week's collision, the Reds and Astros. Sunday Night Baseball, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific.
And there is the $89,000 Excalibur motor car that is available to any of these bowlers. The first one to bowl a 300 here on TV today. You wouldn't mind that. I can see you behind the wheel of that Excalibur.
I'd like to take it out for a little test drive. I think that'd be great. What a car, huh?
Terrific.
Unbelievable.
Well, the next guys with the opportunity to win it, Joe Firpo and Parker Bohn III. Parker Bohn coming off that sterling 257 opening game over Ernie Schlegel.
Well, the lane condition here is conducive to high scores, as we've talked about already. We've had some big numbers throughout the week. Norm Duke shooting 821 for 3, for example. Several 300 games bowled here this week. There's no reason why we can't have one here on 29 and 30. The synthetic surface we're playing on is very smooth. The ball reacts very true. The oil pattern is such that it's not that difficult to keep the ball in play. The bowling balls players use today strike almost at will, so let's hope we get it.
That's a good start.
11 to go.
1 down, 11 to go for Parker Bohn III. Now here's Joe Firpo, a 10-year veteran of the PBA Tour, with 1 title to his credit, that a doubles title at the Showboat PBA Doubles Classic in Las Vegas. That one in 1987. So he's taking a much different angle.
Joe has always had a little problem making the good shot when he really has to. You might say in a clutch situation, he sometimes lets it get away from him, and there's a good example. He's nervous. This is his first shot on television, bowling for a lot of money, and the ball has kind of fell off his hand. Joe throws a very powerful ball, gets a lot of revolutions on the ball, and if he gets it in the pocket area, he almost always strikes. Very seldom will he get wrapped.
We're doing it a little bit the hard way. That Firpo opens with a bark. Firpo's best year as a pro came in 1991. He earned $59,740 that year. Top prize here today, $43,000.
Well, this would make his career. A win today would obviously enhance anyone's career. The ABC Masters Championship being one of the crowning jewels in bowling. I consider it one of the major championships, and I'm sure most of the bowlers that participate in this event feel the same way, Dave. Right along with maybe the PBA National and the Firestone Tournament, which is now changing, from what I understand, to a new sponsor. That's what I've heard. And, of course, the U.S. Open being the other major event.
First split of our 2 matches. This is the mini split, the 3-10, no problems for Firpo.
That's probably the best thing that could have happened to Joe. He made a bad shot, got an easy spare, you might say, as far as a split is concerned. And watch how aggressive he is at the spare now. And this is what he needed. Get the blood flowing, get his heart pumping a little bit. He was just so tentative with his first 2 strike shots that he had no chance. Maybe that'll make him more aggressive.
He's going to have to be aggressive against this fellow because Parker Bohn has found his line. A little bit high that time, though. Bohn leaving the 2-4-7.
Parker, one of the better spare shooters on, because what makes a good spare shooter isn't necessarily how much ball you throw, it's how accurate you are. And Parker can generate a lot of ball speed and still maintain his accuracy. So you don't try to roll a lot of ball to knock down spares. You try to throw it firm where you want it to go.
And Parker Bohn remains perfect. The spare up in the second, and he leads by 2.
And Parker's well aware of Joe Firpo's ability to string strikes, so I'm sure he's thinking, come on, Parker, let's get it going early here. We don't want this guy to get a lot of confidence. If you're going to beat Joe Firpo, you've got to get him down early. Don't let him get a string of strikes. If he gets his confidence going, he might go right off the sheet.
And again, a little bit high. So Parker Bohn all of a sudden struggling just a little bit. Maybe slowed his speed down some.
And throughout the match play, and I was here all yesterday afternoon and evening watching the match play, and it seemed to me that the left lane on every pair was the more difficult. So here on lanes 29 and 30, lane 29 being the left lane, that's where you generally see most of the bowlers have more problems. Parker's been high 3 times in that lane now so far. And, of course, Joe Firpo had the baby split there last frame.
And for the 2-pin, look out, that one almost slid by.
That one almost got away from him, and there is the oil pattern is such that if you get it too near the edge of the lane, it will start to skid, and that's what happened there. Parker got the ball a little wide, and it hit that oil on the edge of the lane and almost didn't get back.
Was he maybe checking out the lane there?
No, he was just trying to make the spare, and he got a little careless. He wasn't checking. He knows where he wants to throw the ball.
Now Firpo trying to get on target, and does in the third. His first strike.
And as I mentioned, you get this young man lined up and start striking, he might not ever stop. So Parker Bohn had better get going if he's going to stay with Joe Firpo.
We're at the Tulsa Convention Center, and this, unlike normal bowling centers, and rather a large facility here. Does that have an impact on the players?
It does. It's a different way of playing the game. You feel like you're bowling on stage. You actually do. It's such an open air facility. Joe let one get away from him there, and I'm surprised he's actually using the bowling ball that he's using. That particular ball, I don't think he's played with all week. It's a brand new shell. It's very smooth, and he's not getting the back end that he normally gets. It isn't hooking as much as he normally does. And here's a look at the convention center here. The American Bowling Congress Championships are held here for several months. Thousands of bowlers come in here and compete, and it's the highlight of the year for most of the bowlers that are members of the American Bowling Congress.
Wow!
What a great shot.
Great shot by Firpo. Not a split because the head pin was standing, but still a great shot nonetheless for Firpo.
And he does this perfectly. He throws it hard and straight. The idea is to get the 1 pin, the head pin, to go into the 10, and you'll see that happen right there. Just the way they write it down.
No problems. You mentioned how many bowlers come here. 43,000 participate between February 13th and when this will all close June 7th. Parker Bohn lucky to trip out the 6 pin.
And I think what's happening out there right now is it's happening on the left side because Parker's already bowled 1 game, plus the practice before the telecast. There are 2 left-handers in the top 5. So what's happening is they continue to bowl. They carry the oil. They move it around with their bowling balls. And as that happens, the lanes change. They go through a transition period here, and the bowlers have to adjust to that change, and they will very quickly. But usually it'll take 2 or 3 frames to get lined up. And here's a look at Parker Bohn again with his strike ball. And the ball's hooking a little more in the back end, and he's going to have to make a move. And generally, he'll move right, more toward the center of the lane to get away from this back end, all that back end where the ball finishes so hard. So I expect Parker Bohn to make at least 2 to 3 board move with his feet and his target more toward the center, so he won't be crossing quite as many boards. He throws plenty of ball. He'll get plenty of hit. More ball speed.
And a better result. A strike in the 5th for Parker Bohn. We are dead even through 4.5. Joe Firpo, who broke a bone in his right foot at the second stop of the '92 PBA Winter Tour. That caused him problems all year. In his worst year as a pro, earned just $6,120. Nearly tripped out the 7, but still a tough split and a tough break for Firpo here at a crucial time in the match.
As you can actually hear his ball rolling over the holes, and that means that he's rolling it very high roll, very forward roll, and this is considered an impossible spare. What he'll try to do is throw the ball very hard at the 610 and hope he bounces it out of the pit.
Tried sliding it over, but there's no way. The angle with that 6-pin straight across from the 4, there's no way to get it.
It's possible, but very unlikely. It happens once in a blue moon. Here's a look at that, and watch the ball. Throw it hard, slide it by, and actually I don't think he was trying to slide it over. It just got away from him a little bit. He wanted to bounce it out of the pit. Joe has to be more aggressive. He needs a little more ball speed. See the ball really hooking hard on the back end, and he's just too soft with the ball speed. He's trying to fit the ball, and you cannot compete against the best players in the world when you're trying to fit the ball. You have to go out there in a one-game match and really be aggressive and make them feel the pressure of you throwing strikes. You're not going to beat them with spares.
Going after the 3-6-10, and he trips out the 10, a spare in the 6th, but Parker Bohn has opened up a 14-pin lead. And we'll be back to the Tulsa Convention Center in just a moment.
What? Oh, guard dog. Oh, very scary. Finally, the good stuff.
If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
A hot new peanut just rode into town with a spicy taste that's getting everybody all fired up.
Got some more. Maybe you ought to practice with mild.
Try new Planters Heat in mild and hot.
The laboratories of 2001 announced a major breakthrough in auto protectant technology. Formula 2001 Super Protectant. Its advanced sun-stop formula helps protect against damage caused by the sun's UV rays, like fading, drying, and cracking. What's more, independent lab tests prove Formula 2001 shines better and protects longer than Armor All on vinyl and leather. But what if your car's surfaces are already faded? We went to the Arizona desert to see if Formula 2001 Super Protectant could help restore the appearance of these UV-faded vehicles. Watch what happens to UV-faded vinyl, rubber, even dried faded leather. Get the best protectant under the sun, the one that shines better and protects longer than Armor All. Formula 2001 Super Protectant with a fresh leather fragrance. And for the unique demands of tire care, get new Formula 2001 Tire Foam and Shine. Just spray and walk away. Get 2001 at these fine stores.
We're here at McDonald's to tell you about
Breakfast economics.
Breakfast economics?
It's a great breakfast at a great price.
It's a McDonald's thing. It saves you money. Pretty simple, isn't it?
Piece of cake.
What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
It's good, isn't it? It's great.
The Grand Prix of Spain on ESPN. Alain Prost is within 2 points of leader Ayrton Senna. Michael Andretti may again flirt with disaster. The Grand Prix of Spain tomorrow morning at 7:50 Eastern live on ESPN.
Parker Bohn III, while we were away, bowled through in the 6th and 7th frames, picked up a very difficult 4-7-10 in the 6th frame. Watch this. But then in the 7th, an open frame, and now here is Firpo with a strike in the 7th.
And as I mentioned, Dave, I believe the lanes are going through that transition period. And as the oil moves around a little bit, the bowlers have to realign how they want to play the lanes, how they're going to adjust to the changes in the lanes. And right now, Parker Bohn is really struggling.
Back-to-back splits for Parker Bohn. He picked up that one in the 6th, which you saw, and missed on an easier, really, 3-7 split in the 7th frame.
And here's a chance for Joe Firpo, first time to take the lead in the match.
Does not, and now he'll have a split as well, the 3-10, one he converted earlier in this match in the 2nd frame. And if he makes this, we'll be dead even.
And now it means a little more. It's late in the match, and can't afford to miss it. Makes it a little tougher. A lot of ball speed, cross lane. The idea is to get the ball on the right-hand side of the 3-pin here, bounce it into the 10. Just like that. Nothing to it. Well, we're seeing a good exhibition of spare shooting where we expected to see a lot of strikes.
So a spare for Firpo in the 8th, and now here's Bohn bowling in the 8th frame. Each player with 124 through 7. What a difference a game makes for Parker Bohn, who rolled a 257 in the opener.
And now would be a good time for him to get very aggressive, really up the ball speed and go straighter to the pocket. A lot of ball speed and go straighter. See, he's too soft with the shot. He's getting it down on the lane early, and it's overreacting. And Parker, with all the experience he has, he's normally more aggressive than this, and maybe, like we talked about, Dave, too nice a guy and not aggressive enough, not a killer instinct that is necessary to win in match play. He's just being too cautious with the shot. He's trying to fit the ball rather than going out and letting it go.
The 2-4-5-7 really needs this one here.
Tough spare. He wants the ball to get through that pocket area, you might say, and get back to the 8-pin. Like that.
He does. So we are still dead even through 8. Well, the 9th and 10th will be where it is decided. Just like in a tie match where they go back and roll a 9th and 10th frame roll off, this is just like that. So we're basically in sudden death time. The winner will move on and meet Patrick Allen, the lone amateur, and another lefty. That one did have more ball speed, and in the foundation frame, Parker Bohn comes up with the strike to put the pressure back firmly now on Firpo.
Firpo has the advantage of finishing the match first, and I consider that an advantage because if he were to strike out for this maximum of 204 at this point, it would be squarely on Parker Bohn's shoulders to tie him by getting 3 strikes in the 10th. So it's all up to Joe. He controls his own destiny at this point.
Tough break there.
Well, maybe he doesn't control his own destiny. That's about as bad a break you can get in a crucial situation as you'll ever see. The solid 9, and that is... I think that's a result of today's bowling balls. And here's a good look at that. The tremendous rotation that Joe gets on the bowling ball. And watch, no deflection. The ball should hit the 9. It should deflect and hit the 9. Instead, it picks the 5-pin right off the 9.
Uh-oh. Ooh.
And almost the end of the match. If he'd have missed that, it would have been all over.
He's looking back at the crowd like, what? Me sweat?
And he's rubbing his thumb. He may be having a little problem with the gripping of the bowling ball. Still anybody's match. If Joe just marks in the 10th, he makes Parker Bohn mark.
And you see the score. Bohn leading by 1. But Bohn, more importantly, with a strike in the 9th. They have a long way to go.
And that's disaster. And that's just a lack of really experience in crucial situations. And it seems as though, unfortunately for Joe Firpo, that he has a history of not making the good shot when he really needs it. And it's cost him a lot of money and a chance to win a few championships over the years.
And the 1-2-8-10. How does he want to make this?
He's basically the way he made it last time. He's going to try to hit the head pin on the left side, slide it into the 10. The ball will take out the 2 and, of course, the 8-pin. Just like that. Getting a good exhibition on how to make spares, but we're not getting very many strikes. And this on a high-scoring lane condition also. Here's another look at it, and watch him. A lot of speed. The ball never does really grip the lane and hook. He just wants to get a piece of that head pin, and he uses sideboards to kick out the 10. That's twice in this particular match he's picked that up. So Parker Bohn picking up the 4-7-10 and 2 washouts by Joe plus 2 baby splits.
On for pin count. That's as many as you can get. So a 179 for Firpo. But now Parker Bohn has his own destiny in his bowling ball.
And sometimes it's harder to get a mark when you need it than it is a strike. The tendency here is to make sure you don't get the open and be cautious. And the idea is to be very aggressive, much as he was against Ernie Schlegel when he threw the ball harder. He needed the first hit in the 10th, carried the wall shot. That's what he should do here. Up the ball speed, line it to the pocket. Don't give it a chance to overhook and get the big split.
How's that?
That's the way to do it. More ball speed. He knew when he let go that he'd done what he wanted. And he really had a lot of revolutions on that ball. He threw it hard with a lot of rotation. It's hard for the pins to stand up when they get hit that well. And this is the game winner right here. This is the clutch shot, and this is how you make it under pressure. Good ball speed. Don't give it a chance to get away from you. And he's running it out, and he's 2 pair over.
And another one. So Parker Bohn III will move on to the 3rd match. And maybe one of the key moments, too, for Parker Bohn was back in that 6th frame when he converted the 4-7-10 split.
Very likely that was the shot that kept him in the match. But really, when he opened in the 7th frame and put Joe Firpo back in the match, the key wasn't that Parker won this match so much as it was Joe Firpo lost it.
Parker Bohn with a 204-179 win over Joe Firpo. He will next meet Patrick Allen here in the ABC Masters.
This is your world, genuine and true. You're the one who keeps coming through, 'cause you're giving it your best. Proud to be your bud. Budweiser. Proud to be your bud. Proud to be your bud. Ooh, yeah. Proud to be your. Proud to be your bud.
A hot new peanut just rode into town with a spicy taste that's getting everybody all fired up.
Got some more. Maybe you ought to practice with mild.
Try new Planters Heat in mild and hot.
We're here at McDonald's to tell you about
Breakfast economics.
Breakfast economics?
It's a great breakfast at a great price.
It's a McDonald's thing. It saves you money. Pretty simple, isn't it?
Piece of cake.
What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
It's good, isn't it? It's great.
Having a real estate license doesn't necessarily mean that you know how to sell real estate. You have to understand people.
There isn't anything any school could teach you to make you care about people. That's got to come from the heart.
Century 21, rated most knowledgeable in real estate.
I feel Denorex tingling on this side, nothing on the head and shoulder side. I love that tingle, so I tried Denorex for my dandruff. It really came through. The flaking stopped, my scalp doesn't itch.
Denorex with conditioners, the serious dandruff shampoo.
I've switched to Denorex.
George Foreman, an American institution. Tommy Morrison, the up-and-coming slugger from the nation's heartland. 2 symbols of the American spirit, headed for a collision. This is going to be a star-spangled battle. Catch the fireworks as the 2 heaviest hitters in boxing clash head-on for the WBO Heavyweight Championship. Monday, June 7th, live on pay-per-view. Call now to order.
So Parker Bohn III wins over Joseph Firpo, 204-179 for Bohn. The split conversion in the 6th frames, and then closing out with 4 in a row proved to be too much for Joe Firpo. So it's 2 down and 2 to go, if you will, for Parker Bohn. And his next match will come against Patrick Allen, the amateur. For Allen, this will be his first time ever in the finals of the ABC Masters. And you see, it started with 480 bowlers on Tuesday who had a chance to wear that wonderful crown of the American Bowling Congress Masters Championship for 1993. And you see the average to cash was 214, almost 215 pins, and the average for match play, 218 pins. And one of the best this week, and the man that's the top qualifier is with Earl Anthony now.
And with me here, thanks, Dave, and with me here is of course, our tournament leader, Norm Duke. And Norm, you've done extremely well over the years in the ABC Masters competition. You've shot tremendous scores, never won. What's going on there?
Well, I tell you, I feel like that in every aspect of the game of bowling. I do so much, it seems like, and only 3 titles. I didn't even get a berth in the Firestone this year. It's humbling, and today, I've got to win. You know, it was hard missing the Firestone, and the next year, the General Tire, I'm going to be there.
recently married. Maybe the wife's going to be an inspiration this week. What do you think?
She's been an inspiration, and I can't be happier. I'm just glad she's here and she's watching.
Well, I wish you a lot of luck today, Norm. I know you're going to give us a good match. You're one of the best match play bowlers on the tour. Do you feel in head-to-head you might be the best player here?
No comment on that.
Come on now, show us. All right. Well, we'll give it back to Dave Armstrong. Dave, we're ready to go again. Back to you, partner.
All right, thanks a lot, Earl. And Norm Duke will be coming up in our next match. But first, we have the semifinal match between Parker Bohn III and Patrick Allen. We'll return to the Tulsa Convention Center in just a moment with the 93 ABC Masters.
It is Monday. The attorneys at Angino and Rovner are working on a personal injury case. 14 attorneys, over 100 years in the law, experienced in thousands of cases, all focused on helping you and your family. Angino and Rovner, since 1928, the Central Pennsylvania personal injury law firm.
Insurance. Ludwig Office Furniture has your Lazy Boy office furniture. Our experienced staff will show you Lazy Boy office chairs and desks to suit your company style. Ludwig is proud to offer such a fine selection of affordable, comfortable Lazy Boy furniture, like Lazy Boy executive chairs starting at just $235. And Ludwig is ready to bring you your new Lazy Boy furniture as quickly as possible, assuring trouble-free delivery and setup. Call Ludwig Office Furniture today for a free, no-obligation assessment survey, and let Ludwig perform for you.
The NHL is playing for keeps. The Canadians face the Sabres in Game 4 tonight, live on ESPN.
Welcome back to the Convention Center in Tulsa. Parker Bohn III, who has won the first two matches, set now to go against Patrick Allen, the amateur. Parker Bohn will try to regroup after rolling a 257 in the first game and just a 204 in the second game, but he closed with 4 in a row. And again, a little bit high on that head pin.
And Parker shaking his head. He's a little confused, especially on the left-hand lane. The ball's overreacting for him, and he's having a problem getting it to hold the line to the pocket. And again, I feel that Parker has the experience. He'll make the adjustments. This particular spare, he'll go cross lane, a lot of ball speed, much as you saw Joe Firpo do twice in the previous match. Try to get the ball to hit the left-hand side of the 2-pin and deflect into the 7.
Wow. He shaved the 2 and could not get it to go. That's hard to do.
It is, and this ball almost doesn't get any. Watch this. It barely hits the 2 and just enough to get a piece of the 7. He almost didn't get any. And that's hard to do.
Harder to do that than to make it.
You bet. All right, here's our first look at the only amateur in the top 5. 22 years old, Patrick Allen.
2 lefties going head-to-head, and he leaves the solid 7. I wonder how nervous he is playing on TV for probably the first time in his life.
Well, if he's like most people, right now he couldn't tell you his name. He'll go a lot of ball speed. This young man can really rev it up. He's got a lot of talent, and this is going to be a great experience for him, win or lose. And it'll obviously help him in the future. He doesn't have any plans to be a professional bowler. He's making a lot of money as an amateur. Kind of a misnomer, I guess, to consider a person an amateur who's making their living throwing a bowling ball, but that's exactly what he is.
Actually, Darrell Dobbs, the executive director of the American Bowling Congress, on hand.
Very talented man, and I consider him a good friend, and I think he's done wonders for the American Bowling Congress, and he's a good leader, doing a great job.
Talking about the money that Patrick stands to make here today. I asked him what he would do. He said, I'll spend it. I like to spend money.
Well, he's going to have a couple of pockets full when he leaves here, that's for sure. And there's a good example right there, Dave, as you see the spare he left there. He's 7 count. He leaves the 3, the 9, and the 10. And the idea here is to hit the 3-pin on the left-hand side. The ball then will drive through and take out the 9. The 3-pin will take out the 10. But that was a good example of getting the ball too wide on the lane and getting out into that area where there's a little more oil. And I talked to the players beforehand. They said there's an out of bounds. You get it out of bounds, which is out near the channel, it will not get back to the pocket.
after the 3-9-10. Just like you said.
Perfect cover. He's doing well. He's showing some composure here. He's had a lot of experience in amateur events, but very little. Here's another look at it. Watch the ball hit the left side of that 3-pin. Drive it into the 10. Ball takes out the 9.
We have seen some great conversions on spares today. Some splits that have been made.
Parker Bohn has to feel that he has an advantage in this particular match. He's had so much experience on the professional tour and match play competition, television competition.
Boy, he avoided the big one, the 7-10, and leaves the 10-pin. Will it make more of a difference on the conditions of these lanes with both of these bowlers being left-handed?
You bet. And again, ball speed is the key. If they get a little soft or let the ball down on the lane a little early off their hand, they're going to get in trouble. You have to keep the ball speed up, and I think they need a little more loft. And you'll see Patrick Allen get the ball out in the lane, and he'll actually hold the pocket, I think, better than Parker Bohn. So Parker, in order to hold the pocket, hold the line, keep the ball in play, needs good ball speed because he sets it down earlier than Patrick Allen.
Bohn trailing by 8. That was better.
Much better. Good ball speed, and he actually changed the rotation of the ball a little bit. He stayed behind it a little more, got a little more end over end, which takes the sharp break off the back end when it gets down to the pin deck area. The more side rotation you have, the harder it is to control the ball. And here's a good look at that. Watch this. He doesn't get around the side quite as much. You can see his hand behind the ball. He lifts kind of straight up, and the ball isn't spinning quite as much. It's rolling more. Keeps it on line. And a crucial error twice on that lane for Parker Bohn. And there's just no excuse for that. Parker is just too good a spare shooter to miss an easy spare like the 7-pin.
Boy, he's really put himself in a hole now, down 20 to the amateur Patrick Allen.
I wonder if he's relaxed a little bit too much bowling against a guy he thinks he should beat. This kid can jump up and bite you, and it could happen right here. Good ball speed. He'll get it well out on the lane. You hear it hit the lane 5-6 feet out there.
And a strike for Patrick Allen. He continues to put the pressure on Parker Bohn III. Earlier today, we had a chance to talk with this amateur, Patrick Allen. Patrick, the lone amateur here today, you feel any extra pressure being the lone amateur?
Well, not really. I'm bowling against a lot of good bowlers, and I know that I'm going to have to bowl good anyway to win, so I'm just going to try and do the best I can.
It's been like a fairy tale week for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, I would have to say so. I'm very fortunate to be where I am, definitely.
Okay, good enough. Thanks. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
So for Patrick Allen, now leading by 20 as he bowls in the 4th. He has been helped by Bohn, who has opened twice already. And Allen now going for the jugular.
And for Parker Bohn to have a chance to get back into this match, which is by no means over, don't get me wrong, but excuse me, for him to have a chance to put any pressure on this young man, he's going to have to up his ball speed. That's all there is to it. That's the answer. He should see that. He should be able to see Patrick Allen throwing the ball harder than he is, getting it well out on the lane, and it's holding the pocket. Parker has to do that.
Bohn continues to struggle. Who would have thought this, though, Earl? I mean, the way he opened with a 257, he was solid. And obviously, the conditions have changed such that he is not being able to make that adjustment.
You're right. The lane condition has changed a little bit. The ball's hooking a little earlier. And again, I keep saying this, but it's so important that he get the ball out over the foul line in the air to eliminate some of that early hook. The way he threw that spare ball right there is the way he should throw a strike ball. That ball, he got it out in front of him. He didn't set it down. He's setting his strike ball down on the lane surface very early, and that almost always will go to the right. And for Parker Bohn, that's a lot of trouble. That's the 2 opens. Basically, he set the ball down early, let him get away from him. Even on the 7-pin, when he missed it, he set it down, the ball skidded out of his hand off into the channel.
Bohn really desperately needs a strike now. Trailing by 30 in the 5th. Needs to string a few together.
Well, he got that one in front of him, and there's the result. You could see the ball was well out over the foul line when he released it, giving himself a little pat on the chest there.
So the pressure now back on Allen, although he leads by 30. You kind of figure this youngster is looking at this one of two ways. Either he's putting a lot of pressure on himself, or he's saying, hey, I'm going to make a nice check no matter what happens here today. So let's just go out and have some fun.
I doubt if he, excuse me, I doubt if he's quite that philosophical, Dave. I think he's out there, he's nervous. He's going to do the best he can, but he wants to win this desperately.
And he's going about it in the right way. 3 in a row now for Allen.
And this is what we talked about earlier when we said that he's an unknown quantity and he could jump up and shoot the big game at you. And this is what he's doing right now to Parker Bohn. And Parker Bohn knows this could happen. And that's why I'm surprised that he had those 2 easy opens to start the match and give this young man confidence in getting going.
Just 22 years old. 4 in a row now for Patrick Allen, the amateur, who leads the professional by 50. We'll be back to the Convention Center in Tulsa in just a moment.
Anytime, any place, go fish. Anyone, any taste, go fish.
At Long John's, get what you want any way you want it, anytime.
You can get your wish anytime. Go fish. Long John Silver's.
I feel Danorex tingling on this side, nothing on the head and shoulder side. I love that tingle, so I tried Danorex for my dandruff. It really came through. The flaking stopped, my scalp doesn't itch.
Danorex with conditioners, the serious dandruff shampoo.
I've switched to Danorex.
Growing, growing, gone. Plants suffer from trouble as varied as nature itself. So turn to the source of advice and good ideas. Ortho. It's our nature to help.
We're back now at the Tulsa Convention Center. Parker Bohn has just come up with 2 more. He has 3 in a row now and is closed to within 30, and he gets a break here on the 7-pin.
Watch the head pin, go to the wall, come all the way back across the lane with just enough to get there before the machine comes down. If the machine had touched that pin before it went down, it would have had to been reset.
So now the pressure back on Allen. He still leads by 30, working on 4 in a row here in the 7th.
This is the biggest shot of the match for him. He has to answer that string of strikes right now. Can't let Parker Bohn get confidence.
Solid ball, but leaves the 7th. So the door is cracked just a little bit for Bohn.
Plenty of room left in the match. There's no question in Parker Bohn's mind that he can still win this match. And he doesn't really need a big break from Patrick Allen. He just needs him to stop striking. And that's what's happened now. And Parker Bohn is sitting there knowing that he could go off the sheet for 237 and still win this match.
And the easy spare for Allen. He remains perfect through 7.
And if I'm Norm Duke, I'm the tournament leader, I'm sitting off to the side and I'm watching this match and I'm thinking, I really don't want to bowl this kid for the championship. I want to bowl Parker Bohn because I bowled him before. He's beat me, I beat him, but I know what he's capable of. This young man is an unknown quantity, and you don't really have a lot of confidence when you're bowling someone for the first time. You don't know what to expect from them. So I think Norm Duke, if he had a choice, he'd probably rather bowl Parker Bohn than the unknown quantity in this young left-hander.
Interesting. In the 8th, another strike.
And I'm very impressed with his ability to get out there and make good shots against one of the best left-handers in the world in a major championship like the American Bowling Congress Bud Light Masters. He's doing a great job out there.
Bohn bowling now in the 8th, working on 3 in a row. He just took a re-rack. You're allowed 1. He just took it there. He knows But he needs to keep striking here to stay in this match. Down 29 right now. This to pull him to 19. And he does.
And he's made the move. He's made the right move. Maybe it's too late. Maybe it's not. We don't know yet. But he definitely is up to speed. You can see him reaching farther down the lane. He's getting down lower, more extension in his follow-through. That keeps the ball on line, and that's what he's done. He's taken all that big hook off the back end and has kept him in the pocket area, and that's why he's back with a string of 4 strikes.
He has really slowed his pace, too. You can tell he is really grinding after each shot.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the scoreboard through 8.
This is a must strike for Parker Bohn to have any chance to win this match right here.
There it is. Wow. Bohn has really come back strong. After open frames in the first and third, he has strung together 5 straight strikes.
And here's Parker Bohn. Look how far he got that ball out on the lane, well out in front of him. That's what made it hold the line. When he released it, he knew it was there. Here's his reaction. This is really where we see what this young man's made of. Patrick Allen bowling for a major championship, 9th frame. He needs this to extend his lead and have a chance to win maybe the Masters Championship.
A lead that was once 40 has been trimmed to 9. But 2 in a row for Patrick Allen.
And he's really answering the call. Parker Bohn has said, here it is, come get it. And he says, I'm coming after it. He's ready. I'm impressed. 22 years old.
Bowling on TV for his first time ever.
He's bowled a lot of major amateur championships around the country. He teamed up with Mike Lichstein, who is the son of former pro bowler Larry Lichstein, to bowl in a doubles tournament where they finished, I believe, 4th. In a PBA doubles event. So he has some experience against the pro bowlers, but nothing of this nature.
Well, Michael J. Fox is getting a great lesson in what it takes to come back in the clutch.
And he's getting an idea of what the drama is like when the bowlers play for this much money in a major championship.
Michael J. Fox will star in a bowling movie called Greed, due out next year sometime.
Well, it comes down to this. With the spare, and I expect he'll make this spare, he'll throw it hard and straight, cross lane, a maximum of 235 for Patrick Allen. That gives Parker Bohn enough room to win the match.
3 strikes for Bohn would give him a 237. One of the easier spares for a left-hander.
All right, now Patrick Allen wants to strike desperately on this ball because he fills the frame, and what he does then is make Parker Bohn not only get 2 strikes to win, but he has to have at least 9 on the last ball, or 8 would be a tie. Strike here for Patrick Allen for 235.
Boy, you've got to be impressed with this youngster from New York.
All right, now we see if Parker Bohn is as nice a guy as we think he is. Here's his chance to 3-time Steve Nagy Award winner, which is given to voted by the other players as the guy with the best sportsmanship on the tour. Now he needs 2 strikes, 9 pins. Let's watch. Oh, good shot.
Oh. Does not get the 7 to trip out, and Patrick Allen will move on to the finals. You got to hand it to Parker Bohn, though. He came alive from the 5th frame on, but it wasn't enough. And Patrick Allen will move on to the finals against Norm Duke in the ABC Masters.
You can feel it deep inside.
I'm here in this auto graveyard to demonstrate New Finish, the once-a-year car polish. Simply wipe it on and wipe it off. There's no rubbing, no buffing. Look how New Finish restored a deep, hard shine to even this weather-beaten old car. You see, New Finish is not a wax. It's a space-age polymer formula that shines better and lasts longer.
And here's proof. An independent laboratory tested New Finish against several leading brands of car polish. After simulating a full year of varying weather, New Finish had the highest gloss and actually retained 90% of its original shine.
Next, we polished this car with New Finish and ran it through 52 car washes. After all the harsh detergents and scrubbing, the water still beads. You'll find New Finish is great for fiberglass boats, too. So get New Finish, the once-a-year car polish. And between polishings, use New Finish car wash to clean your car.
New Finish Liquid, rated #1 by leading consumer magazines, available at Sears, Pep Boys, Rite Aid, True Value, Ace, Western Auto, Eckert, Walgreens, Kmart, and other leading stores.
Championship frames are brought to you by Midas, where you can get same-day brake service because your brakes can't wait. And we take a look at one of those championship frames as Patrick Allen wins over Parker Bohn, 235 to 213. This is the first frame of the first game. And that was a nice way for Parker Bohn to start. He finished with a 257 and wins the first match over Ernie Schlegel. 257 to 226 over Schlegel in that first frame of the first game. Boy, he really strung together several strikes to win that game. Then in the second match, it was the 10th frame that proved to be the difference as Parker Bohn held on and came alive to win over Joe Firpo. Another solid strike for Parker Bohn, and he wins that match over Joe Firpo by the score of 204 to 179. That moved him into the semifinal match where he just met Patrick Allen. And Patrick Allen came alive, and in the 9th frame, he comes up with his key strike.
This is the one that put him away right here. He had to answer Parker Bohn's string of strikes, and the young man showed that he's capable of doing it under pressure. 10 in the pit.
And Patrick Allen wins that match 235 to 213. That earns for Allen a trip to the finals. That's where he'll meet the top seed Norm Duke, an 11-year veteran of the PBA Tour. And we'll have that final match for you here on ESPN in just a moment.
Dear Midas, after getting an outrageous estimate at my dealer, I came back to your shop. Your mechanics,
John, Jim,
Ron,
Robert,
gave me a free estimate, stayed late to finish the job, and even pointed out that my brake pads were under warranty, saving me a lot. I was so thankful for not being taken advantage of. I bought them all lunch the next day. Thank you, Sarah Acco.
Great look. Beautiful hair.
And only weeks ago, she came to my salon with a problem. Dandruff. So I showed her what Head & Shoulders can do. We washed half her hair with regular shampoo, the other half with Head & Shoulders. The result? Regular shampoo side, dandruff. Head & Shoulders side, flake-free. Looking good, Sally.
Thanks to you.
Head & Shoulders, because beautiful hair can't have flakes.
Welcome back to the Convention Center in Tulsa with Earl Anthony. I'm Dave Armstrong. We are ready now for our final match of the 1993 ABC Bud Light Masters. Norm Duke, the professional, facing Patrick Allen. Allen will start.
The surprise of the tournament, young Patrick Allen, 22 years old, with a chance to be the ABC Masters champion.
And a great way to start.
And the winner of the American Bowling Congress Bud Light Masters gets a 3-year exemption into the Firestone, which used to be the Firestone, now the General Tire Tournament of Champions, held in Akron. Norm Duke would qualify if he were to win. Of course, Patrick Allen, an amateur, would not be eligible.
And Duke, who mentioned to you, Earl, that he really missed out on being invited into that Tournament of Champions, would love to go back, and for him, a good way to answer.
He's always been one of the toughest and steadiest performers on the PBA Tour, just not a winner. Something always seems to go wrong when Norm gets a chance to win. He'll miss a crucial spare, or he'll leave one pin spare when he needs a strike. Something just doesn't click when he really needs it. Maybe today, chance to win a major championship here. He'll get it all together.
A little bit high. Norm Duke's wife, Karen, as you mentioned, maybe a settling influence on him. Norm, the youngest to ever win a PBA Tour title. That came in the '83 Cleveland Open at the age of 18.
I remember that very well. I was one of the guys he beat that day.
Probably didn't look much different than he does today.
He still looks like an elf, doesn't he? A little bit like a little guy. He's just a little guy. You know, he's a very talented player and very much a good match play bowler.
And he converts on the spare in the second. And you see even Duke trying to calm his nerves just a little bit. We talk about a guy who has been steady. It's this one. Patrick Allen, this is his fourth start in the ABC Masters, never has made the cut, never has cashed in. Boy, is he going to cash in today.
Generally, psychologically, in your mind, as you get up to bowl in the championship match, the guy that won the match before has a slight edge. He's already bowled a game. He won it. He has nothing to lose, everything to gain. Whereas the leader, he's trying to hang on. He's led the tournament, and he thinks he's already won it. Now he's got to give this guy a chance to win it back. Patrick Allen not letting up.
How much difference does it make to have bowled one time on these lanes already?
It's an advantage. In my estimation over the years, I've always felt it's about a 30-pin edge for the guy that wins the previous match. He's relaxed. He doesn't have to get accustomed to bowling on the championship pair with the cameras on. Norm Duke, no matter how many times you've been on television, it still takes you 2 or 3 frames to get acclimated. Meanwhile, Patrick Allen could start with 3 in a row and a 20-pin lead. Duke would be in the position of trying to catch up.
And instead of 3 in a row, he comes up with the big split, the 4-7-10. This one was converted earlier, not by Patrick Allen, but by Parker Bohn.
And here's a look at that last ball. He just got it hooking a little early. A mistake that most everybody makes occasionally. Unfortunately, he paid the full penalty. Let's see if he can slide the 4 into the 10. Ball speed has to be high, cross lane. Got a chance.
Good close, but not quite there.
You know, speaking of how you think in this situation, here's a good example. The shirt that Norm Duke has on is put out by the American Bowling Congress, and it's called Mindset. And the idea of the shirt, you see the design on the shirt, is to get you in the right frame of mind to perform at your peak. And that's what it's for, and that's why he's wearing that. Maybe it'll help him.
We'll see if those arrows are pointed in the right direction. And they were on that shot. 5-pin lead now for Norm Duke. Let's see if he seizes on that open that Allen gave him in the third.
Normally, if you make a mistake against this caliber of a player, they jump on you. You can almost expect it. When you make a mistake, you pay twice the penalty. Your own error, you paid for, and then your opponent jumps on you for another 10 or 20 pins. So you can almost count on it. A little more speed there.
And a better reaction.
Much better. Remember, he was high on that lane last time, and he came back shaking his head. He made the adjustment, increased the ball speed. The ball held the line.
So now, for maybe the first time, Patrick Allen really feeling the pressure. He was always in front in his match with Parker Bohn. Now he finds himself trailing for the first time today, down 15. How's that for an answer?
Well, he sure doesn't show any stress, does he? He just gets out there and gets the job done, and he shook off that open frame and that he had in the third with the big split like it never happened. Just went out and made a great shot. He's not going to roll over and play dead for Norm Duke.
Patrick Allen, who made the first cut down to the 120 bowlers by just 2 pins.
First place, $43,000 plus. Beautiful trophy, the right to be called the American Bowling Congress Masters Champion.
And trying to become the second consecutive amateur to win this prestigious tournament. But he's facing a very tough competitor in Norm Duke, who averaged 245 in match play.
That's phenomenal. Phenomenal. That's a record, and it's a phenomenal scorer. It's just unbelievable that anyone can average 245 for the number of games over crossing pairs of lanes in this type of very intense competition.
A spare for Allen in the fifth, but still trailing Duke by 15. And Duke has the ABC Masters 3-game series record. He rolled an 857 and 89, and if you thought that was a fluke, how about an 821 that he rolled in the semifinals here this year?
Harry, come on.
It did carry. 3 in a row now for Duke, and his wife Karen is extremely happy with how things are developing here. Her husband now leads by 25.
And again, I mentioned the fact that the tension that the spouse feels is probably much more so than Norm is feeling. Norm can do something. He get out there and he's performing and he's doing what he does best. His wife has to sit there and just pull for him, and she can't even roll one of the balls for him, so it's harder on her than it is Norm.
He just asked for his lone re-rack. For Duke, his best finish this year, he was second in the True Value Open in Peoria.
One of my favorite stops on the tour, Peoria, Illinois. What a great town.
That one a little bit high all the way.
And when he let go of that ball, he made a mistake in his release. He knew it. You saw him down on his knees hoping he wouldn't split. What he did is he got around to the side of that ball early. And when you do that, it almost always goes high on the head pin. Now here's a look at his release. Watch his hand rotate more so and earlier than normal. Right here, he'll start to see it. It's already on the side. And all you can do from there is lift. And when you lift, you create early roll. You create a early roll, the ball goes high in the head pin. That's exactly what happened.
Sounds easy.
Unfortunately, once it's gone, it's gone. You can't
gone.
change it.
That's right. Boy, he goes after those spares so softly.
Well, what he does, he throws the ball dead straight. It's like almost a reverse hook.
So Norm Duke has the 23-pin lead. He is through 6 frames, and we'll return to the Tulsa Convention Center in just a moment.
You can feel it deep inside. You're the one with a real sense of pride, and you're giving it your best. Proud to be your bud. Budweiser. Proud to be your bud.
If I want to keep playing baseball, I'm going to have to keep working. There's no off season anymore. Every day it's just me and a pile of iron, or a bike I ride forever. And when I get sore, I take Advil. It's strong, it works, and I know it helps. And Advil's gentler on my stomach than aspirin. To last as long as I have, you got to stick with what works. That's why I use Advil.
Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
The 3M Filtrete Clean Air Filter gets more of the small stuff that's in your air out. Stuff an ordinary furnace and air conditioner filter would miss. Like more of the dust. More of the pollen and mold. More of these particles that could irritate your allergies. It even gets more animal dander. Try the Filtrete Clean Air Filter. It gets more of the aggravating things in your air out. Even smoke. Look for the 3M Filtrete Clean Air Filter wherever you buy furnace or air conditioner filters.
A cheeseburger and a Coke. A cheeseburger and a Coke.
I could have gone to Shoney's, but think of the time I'm saving here.
I said a cheeseburger and a Coke. Somebody talk to me.
With Shoney's pasta, you now get 3 delicious choices: marinara, Alfredo, or meat sauce. Of course, other family restaurants offer you 3 choices, too: tomato sauce, salt, and pepper.
We move now to the 8th frame. Norm Duke with just a 13-pin lead. Both players have been struggling on this left lane. Let's see who can solve it.
Again, back to good solid ball speed there for Norm Duke, and that's the key for him on the left-hand lane. Patrick Allen will only have to bowl there once more, the 9th frame. Norm Duke chose, as higher in the standings, he gets to pick his finishing and starting lane. He decided he'd finish on lane 29, the more difficult of the two. We'll find out if that was a good choice or not when it comes down to the 10th frame. Patrick Allen in a must-strike situation here. He can't afford to miss.
For 3 in a row. There it is. I'll tell you, you have to be impressed with the composure of this 22-year-old amateur.
I am. I'm definitely very impressed. And here's the key shot for the match. Right now, Patrick Allen on the more difficult of the two lanes, lane 29, if he should strike here, would put tremendous pressure on Norm Duke. And you can see Norm Duke, when a man's sitting there and he's breathing through his mouth, he's feeling pressure.
His wife, Karen, sits nervously behind him. Will he get it on the 7? No, the head pin came flying across the lane, but did not trip out the 7. Boy, a tough break.
And what a great
for
shot.
Patrick Allen.
A crucial situation, probably the biggest shot of his young career, and he did it extremely well. Can't let that affect him now. He has to make this spare. Still very much in the match.
Taking his time on the 7 pin. Got it close to the channel, but
here's a good look at his first ball. He's going for the strike on the more difficult of the lanes, lane 29, and he made a great shot. He increased the speed, increased the loft, more rotation. The ball hits extremely hard. But watch the head pin, as Dave mentioned, goes all the way to the sidewall, comes all the way back across, and the pin in the channel, which is the 4 pin, kept the head pin from knocking out the 7 pin. Bad luck. Remember, Norm Duke, our tournament leader, has had trouble in the past finishing out a clutch match. Got away with one there, folks. Let me tell you. He lost his footing. The ball just fell off his hand, dead in the pocket. And you can see the look of relief on his face. Patrick Allen wondering, what do I have to do?
Yeah, right.
All right, this is the big shot here because it's not over. Patrick Allen still has the opportunity to shoot 224. Norm Duke right now going at a 238 pace. But an open would put him right back in the match. He has to keep the speed up. He yanked it a little bit. And he got it. All right for Norm. And the look of relief on his wife's face.
How about that? Norm Duke, a strong finish here. Strike starting in the 7th frame, in the 8th, and the 9th, and one more here in the 10th. And finally, a sigh of relief and a kiss for the bowling ball.
All right, now keep it on the deck. That's all you got to do, Norm. Keep it on the deck. And we got a winner.
We do have a winner.